Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to do some meal planning, and I'm sorry this is so late, but YouTube all day today has been messing up, and so you will probably most likely see this on Monday. But I haven't been able to get on a whole lot of anything, and I didn't want to try to do a video and upload it because I knew if it messed up and I lost it, I wouldn't be able to do this for you guys because I couldn't recreate it. So what we're going to do is do some meal planning, and basically I'm going to have all my meals done for the week except for breakfast. So I'm going to put you down here and we're going to get started. Okay, so for this week, if you saw my meal plan yesterday, then you would know that I'm having this wonderful soup that I'm making for the week, and deviled egg salad and tuna salad. So what I'm using for tuna, and I have all these bowls to store my stuff in, I just get the white tuna in water because I prefer to add my own fat to it. If you can get some good quality tuna in olive oil, that would be okay, but I recommend getting the water packed tuna. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open this up. And then I'm going to pour it in a strainer and let it drain for a little bit. Because I don't want, a really wet tuna fish salad. So we're just going to put this in the strainer and let that drain. And we're going to need about a cup of tuna for the week. So that is roughly 2 cans of tuna. When you add the other stuff to it, it's going to be plenty. Now, I usually do prep my meals no matter what I'm eating for the week. I try to get as most done as I can. And so, okay. Just using my knife for everything. Rinse it off though. Okay, so that's 2 cans of tuna already done, and what we're going to do now is I'm just going to let that drain, and then we're going to start on our egg salad for the week. Now I know egg salad is really simple to make, but I do it a little bit differently, or maybe not. Maybe some of you eat it this way too. Let me wipe my board off here. Got some tuna fish on here. I don't want that in my tuna fish. My egg salad. So what I did was I boiled 6 eggs. And I'm going to take, I don't know why I didn't get this out. I'm going to take my little meat thing here. It's what I use to break up meat and stuff with. I got this from my daughter who sells Pampered Chef. And I'm just going to make the egg salad right in the bowl. So I'm just going to break up the eggs. Now, I don't know how you guys boil eggs, but I put mine on a pot, and I make sure that my eggs sit out till they get room temperature, so that when I put them in water, they're the same, almost the same temperature as the water. And then I put them on the stove and bring them to a boil, and then once they come to the boil, I turn my stove off, put the lid on the pot, and let them sit for 10 minutes, and then they're done. And then I pour them in an ice bath, and when you put them from boiling water to ice bath, it shocks them, and the shells, you crack it, and the shells just fall right off. It's so easy to do. Okay, so I'm going to leave some of mine a little bit chunky. I don't need it to be done fine, chopped. Okay. So then we're going to add, and I'm not using a measuring tablespoon, I'm just using a regular tablespoon. We're going to add 2 tablespoons full of mayonnaise. Now, you want to make sure that you use sugar-free mayonnaise. And I always use Duke's mayonnaise because it is sugar-free. or either make your own. Okay, and then we're going to use about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Gives it a nice little twang. And that's about a teaspoon. And then we're just going to mix it up. So this is going to be one of my snack days, my snacks during my meals. I'm going to alternate between this and the tuna fish. So it's a half a cup, and then I'm going to eat it with a romaine leaf, a couple of romaine leaves, or either celery sticks. So that is real simple. That just took, what, a few minutes? And we're done. Well, I thought we were done, but we're going to add some pepper, a little bit of pepper to this. Now, I'm not adding salt because the mayonnaise has salt in it, and so does the Dijon mustard. And I don't want it to be too salty. So, it's going to be a half a cup, like I said, of this for a snack. Get all that yumminess off, and now we're going to do our tuna fish. Okay, so for our tuna fish, we're going to take our tuna that's been draining. And I'm just going to press down on it a little bit just to get some more of that juice out. Okay. We're going to put that in our bowl. And I'm going to rinse off. So use the same spoon, just rinse the eggs off of it. Because nobody else is going to eat this but me. It's all good. Okay. So in this, we're going to put about a teaspoon of minced onion. Now you could put real onion in here, but I don't prefer to bite into an onion sometimes. And this gives it a really good flavor. And what's nice about this is when you make it before you eat it and it sits in the refrigerator for a few days, it tastes a whole lot better. So we're going to add about 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise to this. Maybe a little less because I'm going to have to switch to another jar. Okay. And we're going to mix this up. And like I said, I'm just going to mix it up in the same bowl that it's going to be sitting in. And I'm going to add a little salt and pepper to this. Add a little pepper. Add a little salt. Now, you need salt. Light salt is good because of the potassium, but I take a magnesium supplement, and then the vitamins that I take from doTERRA have potassium and stuff in them. So, I really don't need to take anything else. Okay, so tuna fish salad is done. That was really quick, huh? And we're going to put this in the fridge and get ready for our soup. Okay, so for our soup, this is the thing that takes the longest to prepare, but it's really not that long. You're going to need 4 cups of chicken that's already been cooked and then shredded up. You're going to need 4 slices of bacon, a cup of sliced mushrooms, a couple of cups of squash, and then a cup or more of green beans. And then we also going to need about half of this onion and some Swiss chard and some sun-dried tomatoes. I know this seems like a lot. And then you're going to need 8 cups of chicken stock or broth. So let's clear some of this out and get to measuring stuff and put it in. But the first thing I want to do is get my bacon started in a pot. And you're going to also use about a tablespoon of olive oil with the bacon to get it started. And you're going to cook this in your pot. So I'm just going to take 4 slices of bacon out. This really gives your soup some good flavor, and it is truly yummy. So we're going to chop our bacon. Whoops, I'm trying to make room here. And get, actually, you know what I'm going to use? Where's my kitchen shears? I was going to use my kitchen shears, but I couldn't find them. They're hidden everywhere. I'll just chop. Okay, so this goes in our pot and starts cooking with a tablespoon of olive oil. Okay, I had to switch out mats here because I don't want to cross-contaminate anything with raw bacon and then vegetables. So now we're just going to cut up everything. Now, a cup of mushrooms is a little bit larger than a measuring cup, but I'm just putting it in there to get a rough idea. This is a 8-ounce container, and a cup is 8 ounces. So I'm probably going to put the whole thing in there because, as you know, mushrooms have mostly fiber, but I just thought I would try it out. Let's see. Need something to hold our mushrooms. So we're just chopping. Okay, so we got our mushrooms done. And now we're going to get our squash. And I rinse these off before I put them in the refrigerator because that's usually what I do with my vegetables. When I bring vegetables home, I usually go ahead and rinse them off and get them clean before I put them away. That way they're already ready for me. So all we're going to do here is slice them in half. And then chop them in quarters. Some of the larger ones I may cut another little bit. Okay, that's one. This is the hardest part of meal prep. It's just chopping everything up. Okay, so we got our squash chopped up. Let's put it in a container while we're waiting. I decided to wait till I got everything chopped up to start so I could bring you over to the stove and show you what I do and how I load it all in there. And because you cook this in stages, because some things cook faster than others. Oh, also we're going to need cauliflower. I got to get my cauliflower out. I did not find celery root. The recipe calls for celery root, but I didn't find any, so it said, you know, the recipe says you can substitute for it. Now this calls for 1/4 of a cup. That's too big. And I am going to measure this because sun-dried tomatoes have carbs in them. So these are pretty much already in strips. So I'm just going to put those in there like that. They are good though. It's 6 carbs for 1/2 an ounce, which I'm not even sure what that is. Anyway, but it's supposed to add really good flavor, so we're going to do it because we're going to divide this up into 20 servings, so I think we're okay. Alright, so there, we have that done. Now we're going to get our green beans done, and this was my buy of the week, fresh green beans for 99 cents a pound. And green beans are naturally low in carb. And these are my go-to beans when I want to eat beans. So we're just going to chop the ends off. And then just cut them up in little pieces. Actually, you know what? I'm not cutting these things up. I'm just going to snap them. I'm from the South. Are you kidding me? My grandma would shudder if she saw me cutting beans up. So I'm going to get this done and then I'll be back. Okay, green beans are done. That's about how many I'm putting in there. Now I'm just going to take my onion. And this was a small onion, so I used half of it. But if you're using a large onion, you should only use a quarter of it. Now, I know some people do this right here, but it's kind of silly because the onion's already in rings. So when you chop it, it's automatically going to chop into little pieces, right? Just grab the root. And this is a trick to leave the root in on so that you can slice it all together. And then you can turn it over this way and get the rest of it. Alright. Onion done. The other onion I'm just going to wrap up. Whoops. And save that. That goes in my garbage bowl over here. Now, we also need our garlic. And I'm using minced garlic in a jar. And we need cauliflower. And I'm using frozen cauliflower. I had it in my refrigerator. I didn't want to have to buy anything else. So this is what I'm using. And yeah, it'll be all right. Then we have our Swiss chard. And all I'm doing with this is just pulling the leaves back. Just hold the stem like this and then just run your fingers down through it and strip them off. You don't want this hard stem in there. So I'm just doing that. And I'm going to give it a little bit of rough chop. Now I'm going to tell you what you might, a surprising thing that you may not know. If you can't find Swiss chard, you can use collards in this recipe. They're pretty low in carbs. Matter of fact, they're lower in carbs than this is. But Swiss chard is such a good, healthy green for you. But kale, even though kale is sturdy, kale's got a lot of carbs in it. I mean, a lot. I don't understand why, but it just does. So stay away from kale if you're on keto. And you're trying to stay away from, it's not going to hurt my feelings to stay away from kale. It is not my favorite thing. Now you can eat kale in little, in little amounts, but it's not my favorite veggie anyway. So I think we are all chopped. Let's see, mushrooms, squash, sun-dried tomatoes, green beans, onions, garlic, and yep, that's it. All right, we're going to go over the stove and start putting this puppy together. Okay, we're over here. I put my bacon in the pot, and a tablespoon is about 1 turn around your pan. Good quality olive oil. Now, one thing I failed to mention to you, at the end of this, when the soup gets done, we're going to add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Don't ask me, it just makes it work. And then, when you get ready to eat it, I have basil. And I have fresh basil here and growing. And you top it off with just a little bit of basil on top, which is really good. So you're going to get this bacon going. You're going to cook it about 2 minutes. Then we're going to add our onion, sun-dried tomatoes, and garlic. Okay, so we've been cooking our bacon for about 2 minutes on medium heat. Now we're going to add all the lovely bits in there. Now we're going to add our onions. We're going to add our sun-dried tomatoes. And we're going to add a tablespoon of minced garlic. Now you don't ever cook garlic by itself unless you're very careful with it, because most people think they don't like garlic, or if they don't like garlic, it's because they burn it. And burnt garlic is no good. If you burn your garlic, you might as well just start all over again. So you're going to cook this on medium heat for about 5 minutes. You're just softening your onions up. You're getting the flavor out of the sun-dried tomatoes. So we're going to cook this for 5 minutes and see where we go from there. Okay, I forgot. We need to add our mushrooms now too. Now it doesn't look like this pot is going to hold everything, but let me tell you, all this stuff cooks way down. So just going to mix all the mushrooms up, and then we'll cook this for a few minutes and then come back. Okay, so this has been cooking. I don't know if you can tell. You can how everything is just cooked down nicely. And I wish you could smell, because so now we're going to add our broth. We're going to add 8 cups. Now I couldn't find chicken stock that did not have sugar in it, and I don't buy chicken stock with sugar in it because, for one thing, that's ridiculous. It's supposed to be from, you know, chickens, not added sugar. So we're going to add 8 cups, and then you're supposed to add 3 cups of water. But because I'm using broth, I'm only I have a partial container of broth left over in the fridge, and I'm going to put that in there, and then some additional water. But I don't want to water it down too much. So each one of these box containers hold 4 cups. So that is 8. And then we're going to add 3 cups of a little bit more liquid. So grab my measuring cup, because I am going to measure this, because I don't want to get too much liquid in there. And I'm putting some bone broth in there, so it's quite strong. This is what I'm putting in there with it, some organic bone broth. And that was a cup, so I'm going to add 2 more cups of water. Okay. Now, I know this pot's full, and you're saying, how in the world are you going to get that other stuff in there? We will. It'll cook down. So we're going to let this simmer for 15 minutes, and then we're going to come back and add our chicken and our cauliflower. Okay, so now we're going to add our chicken to it. Ooh, this pot is full. I may have to get another pot. I hope not, no. But it will cook down. And then I'm going to add my cauliflower. I'm only going to add about 2 cups. So now all this will cook down. But you see, you can be on keto and eat vegetables too. Alright? Now I have to put all of that in there. Okay. Give this a little stir. Oh, it is full. I may have to add another pot. This is the largest pot I have, though. Okay, I'm going to add my green beans in there. And now we're going to let this simmer for about 15 minutes. Then we're going to add our squash and our Swiss chard. And then we let that simmer down. So I'll be back. Okay, guys, so we're ready to put our squash and stuff in. And you see that I had to go ahead and get another pot. I was just afraid this was going to be just spill over, and it would have. Most likely, so I'm just going to divide the squash up between the two pots. It's all going to be combined anyway. When it gets done, I am going to store them in 2 10-cup bowls. So we threw our squash in there, and now we're going to put our Swiss chard in there. And we're just going to wilt this in. I just cut them up in big pieces. They will wilt in. Put some in this pot. Okay. And then we just have one more thing to do. Okay guys, so we're almost finished with our soup. The last thing we're going to add, besides the basil, when we before we serve it, is 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And this is I'm going to put a tablespoon in each pot, just to make sure I have it evenly distributed. It just adds a little tang, like where you would have vegetable soup with tomatoes, I think. And it calls for either apple cider vinegar or red wine vinegar. And I was not spending money on red wine vinegar just for 2 tablespoons. So we did the apple cider. I wish you could smell this though. It smells incredible. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the meal prep. So I'm sorry the video is a little longer, but we did pretty good. For 26 minutes we prepped my whole dinner, my lunch and dinner for the whole week with the soup, and my snacks with the egg salad and the tuna fish salad. So I am prepped, except for bacon for breakfast and eggs. Alright guys, thank you so much. If you have any questions about my diet this week, remember I'm doing clean keto, which means I'm not doing any sugar, any kind of sweeteners at all, artificial sweeteners, erythritol, or anything. And no dairy products except for butter, which is mostly fat. No nuts or anything like that. It's just all clean eating. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure you give me a thumbs up. And if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so by clicking that subscribe button down there. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.